session 4 of When Things Get Tough. And following on yesterday's reflection, we were looking at the issue of why. And the natural reaction to say, well, why? What have I done to deserve this? And the answer being nothing. Suffering is not punishment, it is a fact of life. Jesus dealt with the issue. At one time, the disciples walking along and they saw a man sitting begging, and this man had been born blind. And so they said to Jesus, well, whose sin is it? Is it this man's sin, or is it his parents that he was born blind? And Jesus said, it's neither. He said, but you will see the glory of God. And what he meant there was that he actually healed this man, and so they saw the glory of God in healing a man who was born blind. Luke 13, there's a similar thing where Jesus happened to mention it's not punishment, it just happens. Some people reminded Jesus of a time when Pilate had got his soldiers to mingle amongst a crowd of unarmed people, and at a given signal they pulled out their daggers and started stabbing people. And Jesus says, do you think these Galileans were worse sinners than all the other Galileans because they suffered this way? And then raised another incident. What about the 18 who died when the Tower of Siloam fell on them? Do you think they were more guilty than all the others living in Jerusalem? I tell you, no. He's saying it is nothing to do with how good we are or how bad we are. In the context that he was speaking these things, he was warning people that it was far more important that they should be sorry for their sinfulness, confess it to God, so that they would live with him after death. So when tough times come, how do we respond? The first thing is going to be an attitude of mind. We aren't being cheated out of life. It is life. Secondly, it isn't punishment from God. It's happened because we live in a world that's not perfect. So where does God fit into all of this? The man born blind was healed. Jesus healed many people of their diseases. The disciples followed that on after Jesus was gone. And still today, Jesus will heal people directly through prayer because God is a God who heals. He takes no pleasure in seeing his children who have to live with a sickness. Many faithful people will pray for someone and they don't get healed, they die. Or they have to just continue living with the sickness, and we say, well, why? And we don't have an answer to that. It's in God's hands, but one thing's for sure, he has a plan. It isn't that he doesn't like the person, it isn't that they don't have enough faith. There'll always be a greater purpose involved, even if we can't see it at the time. Nothing is outside of God's hands. We learn something important in hard times, something that an easy life will never teach us, something that's important for God's kingdom and for our share in the life beyond this one. John's wife Heather had cancer, and hundreds of people around the state, plus many interstate, prayed for her. We prayed for a miracle right up to the end, but she died. Now I can't explain how or why, but I know that I gained from that experience a far greater sense of the goodness and love of God.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands, from the moment that I wake up until I lay my head. I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I'm able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I'm able, I will sing in the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God.